Donald Trump shows Zelensky who's really in charge. It's Putin. This is just another day. After last Friday's meeting in Alaska, where Donald Trump showed the world who's boss by rolling out the insultingly red carpet for Putin, it was time for Trump to meet with the other member of this war, President Zelensky.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have the president of Ukraine with us. We've had a lot of good discussions, a lot of good talks, and I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia, and I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it.
Excuse me, something could come out of that meeting? Why are you selling yourself so short?
This was epic, what we achieved. That's just a flat-out fact.
Damn right. It was an epic meeting. I mean, what's more epic than getting Putin to agree to absolutely nothing, getting 0 questions answered, and having the whole summit end hours before it was even supposed to? Remember, Chapter 4 of Art of the Deal is always leave you wanting more. But back to today. This is the first Oval Office meeting between these two since February, when Zelensky got harangued for not saying thank you enough and for wearing such an insulting outfit.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
That was intrepid, well, not so much reporter as right-wing propagandist Brian Glenn pressing the leader of Ukraine on the tough issues. But apparently Zelensky took it to heart because today he showed up all Ukrainian chic and struck a much more deferential tone.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you.
That was 4 thank yous in 10 seconds. I haven't seen someone sputter out that kind of appreciation since Don Jr. thanked God for blessing him with those sweaty C-cups. But it's clear Zelensky finds himself in a tough spot. He and other European leaders are meeting with Trump in Washington today in the hopes of finding an end to this brutal war. So Zelensky needs the help of the US, but to get it, he'll have to navigate those emotions of a guy who's often focused on other things.
Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening.
You know Trump, he just jumps at the chance to give someone else the credit. But the tone of today's meeting was much more conciliatory on both sides. Zelensky and Trump both shared their goal of ending the bloodshed, and it was all done without shouting or finger-pointing. Could it be those fancy new threads?
Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Yes, sir. I've got a question for each of you. First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? That's the one that attacked you last time. See, now he's in.
I remember that.
No, my first question for you, President
But you
Zelensky.
are in the same suit. You see, I changed, you are not.
Maybe yours is much better.
Damn, Zelensky going for the Brian Glenn gut punch. Little does Zelensky know, you can't hurt a man's self-esteem when it's already low enough to be dating Marjorie Taylor Greene. But one of the most important pieces of news to come out of this meeting came from a Brian Glenn question that Trump was, for some reason, happy to entertain.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important
Well,
that is?
that's a very off-topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots.
Wow, wherever did our independent thinking president come up with this idea?
Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said, your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting. He said mail-in voting every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections.
Wow. I know Putin is short and Russia is thousands of miles away, which makes it even more impressive that Putin has Trump by the balls. But the way Trump sees it, there's a right way and a wrong way to vote.
When you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me, they asked me for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually.
License plates are a must in our democracy. Frankly, if you want free and fair elections, you have to play by the rules. You know the drill. Once you arrive at your polling place, you walk out to your car with a screwdriver provided to you by each volunteer poll worker. You unscrew your license plate, bring the plate and the screwdriver back in. They run it through their license plate system to verify that it's from your vehicle. And once you've done all that, you can vote while holding your license plate. I wonder why all of this is happening now.
Putin wants to sow chaos in the American electoral system ahead of the midterms. So, of course, he's laid into this whole issue of mail-in voting.
Hey, Vlad, the notion that we need foreign help sowing chaos in our country is just a tad bit insulting. Now, to be fair, it is worth exploring why we are the only country on Earth that has mail-in voting. I mean, what makes us so special?
And President Trump asserted in his Fox News interview that there are no countries in the world that allow mail-in voting. Well, Russia allows mail-in voting. And if everybody wants to go out and look, they can look for themselves. In 2020, President Vladimir Putin signed into law Russians being able to vote by mail and also on the internet. And more than 30 other countries also allow some forms of mail-in voting.
Oh, so it's all bullshit. This president has a worse relationship with the truth than he does with Eric. Donald Trump desperately wants to live in an alternate reality where facts are whatever fits his narrative. Trump wants to be the jobs president? Easy. Just hire someone who will give you whatever jobs numbers make you happy. Trump wants to be the tough on crime president? No problem. Simply inflate DC crime stats to make you seem like a hero for sending in the National Guard. And Trump wants to be the free and fair elections president? I mean, that ship has completely sailed, but have at it. Just rail against our mail-in voting system so that you seem like the electoral version of Superman, even though over and over and over again, your claims of widespread voter fraud have been total bullshit. And by the way, that Superman photo was posted by the White House, where they used Superman's tagline, "Truth, Justice, and the American Way." And I haven't seen 3 falsehoods in a row like that since reading all 3 of Trump's wedding vows back to back to back. The reality is, all those efforts by Russia to influence our elections through troll farms and bots and having operatives funnel millions in an effort to dupe right-wing influencers into spewing Kremlin-based talking points, it turns out Russia didn't have to do any of that. You don't need spies or covert agents to influence our elections. All you need is an American president with a supremely fragile ego who is susceptible to the compliments of his favorite autocrat. There is a pretty good chance Putin can get whatever he wants if he sends over a gold trinket with a note praising our totally well-endowed commander-in-chief. The extent to which Putin has Trump in the palm of his hand would be funny if it wasn't so dangerous. And yet still, Trump walks around thinking that he has the upper hand, as was the case today with this hot mic moment.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that, as crazy as it sounds?
As crazy as it sounds? What's so crazy about thinking you somehow brokered a deal with a man who unilaterally started this war and who could end this war whenever he wants? So let this be a lesson to all of you out there. If you want to get on this president's good side, all it takes is flattery, the ability to neg him, and just a little echoing of his meritless claims of election fraud. Oh, and don't forget to bring your license plate. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.